Hey, hey,
Hey,
hey. How you doing, sister?
brother. Happy Thursday.
Hey, to you as well. What's been going on out there in the world?
I've been, I don't know, I've been traveling and that has been just, I went from the west to the east to the west. It was crazy.
No,
And
that's a good thing. That's the way it's supposed to be.
I enjoy well, I don't know if I enjoy the travel. I enjoy the stuff that I was doing, but uh,
Hmm.
the delays because of the snowstorm was crazy this time.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, and you do not realize how much the stuff from the east impacts the
Hmm.
west. Hi y'all, it's Xadian and I again sitting here in the Rose Garden, excited that you guys have joined us. We are a part of a sibling pair that comes and chats in the Rose Garden for our own mental health and to make sure that we are honoring the legacy of our grandmother. If you're here, you're joining us because you like what we say, and we say all kinds of crazy stuff that come to mind. Today gonna
Hmm.
be interesting. What you think, brother? Because we ain't had a chance to talk this week, so I gotta download all this stuff.
Yeah,
A
we got a
lot
lot
has
of
been
ground to cover, huh?
Oh boy, a lot of ground has been, there's a lot of ground to cover. But first, I'm gonna give you greetings and make sure that you're all right. You look like
Yeah,
you
I'm
well
very well.
fed.
Yeah, I'm very, very well. It's Ramadan right now, so I've
I know, I know.
been
So you
trying to
fasting.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's it. That's a we Bruce and I didn't do it this year, but
Mm-hmm.
we do it often. But
Mm-hmm.
the travel was gonna make it difficult for me to do it, and
Oh, I hear you. Yeah, it's tough when you're traveling for sure. It throws everything off, even the routine. If you work out and all that, it's tough to
it
keep that when you travel.
It has been. So my routine is completely off. Like everything that I normally do is completely off. And I got more to do until the end of March. So but then once that happens, I settle back down and life life, slows down. But a lot of I told you I wanted to talk to you about your nieces and nephews. So someone's been secreting about their parents.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
mhm. And I'm in a new era. I'm a grandmother now, and uh, I'm trying to learn how to be um, supportive of adult children and not parent them. Uh,
Hmm.
but I got some feedback about talking about them behind their back,
What they
and
say about it,
well, they didn't like it. They thought that
I know they never do.
they're adults now, and they thought that they should have feedback. And I had a very different perspective on it. My thought was like, well, you're still my kids, and
Hmm.
um, you know, like when they were kids, talking about them sometimes in front of their face and behind their back helped me from like hemming them all up. So, you get reflective feedback from people and they teach you, and now they act like it's the end of the world if you start talking about them. And usually I'm talking about them in their face, so it's not really behind their back, but I'll say something like, well, I was talking to auntie about it, and such and such, and you over there sharing all my business.
Hey, it's funny, right? Because I think that if at what point is this shared experience that we have, right? Talking about somebody else's business if their business affects you, you know? So like let's just say if I have an experience with you and I'm sharing that experience from my point of view, my perspective, which is my experience. I'm sharing my life experience with someone,
Right.
but it just so happened to include you. Your the points where our life in is set. Isn't it? Aren't you entitled to being able to express how you feel about the experience that you have? You know what I mean?
I love your wisdom on that. I mean, I share that belief and I would say
Hmm.
yes, but I also think like talking about things like about people you care about in
Hmm.
I think intent matters, right? Like, so I'm
Hmm.
not just like gossiping to harm or to hurt, or it's
Hmm.
really usually to kind of guide my thinking and things like that. And I think that we have these like rules in life where we should
Hmm.
tell people, but we people do deserve to be talked about so we can get clarity about intent and to be able to see different things from different perspectives. And while we all should confront, I think it's also healthy to get different perspectives and get different ways of thinking.
Absolutely. Definitely.
Or like that's how this rose garden experience started was
Hmm.
I needed a lot of different perspectives in business. And so we were spending so much time talking to each other. You like, and we, our conversations went everywhere where you were like, we could totally do this in a podcast. And I think that's, I think we need to clarify that for people. And, I see a lot of immaturity in these
Hmm.
adults, you know, these people that's cosplaying as adults. You know what I'm saying? I
No,
see a
no
lot
doubt.
I see a lot of
No
immaturity.
doubt. Yeah,
Uh,
it's true because I think that not for nothing that it's a childlike trait not to want nobody to talk about you when they're connected to you. You know what I
mhm,
mean? Because
mhm,
I think definitely when you're inside of a bond, a shared bond, where you got shared life, shared experiences, you want that other person to talk about you, right? Like
mhm,
complimentary for sure, definitely.
mhm.
You know what I mean? But let's just say, you want your loved ones to be walking around with you in your heart in their heart and mind, and that everywhere they go, people know about you because of them. You
Mhm,
know, that's
mhm,
an artifact of their love for you and their respect for you and stuff like that. You That's the value in there. But
mhm.
I think like when you doing stuff that's uncomplimentary, then people don't want that told. You know what I mean?
Right,
They
right,
don't want that.
right,
So the thing again is if it's an adverse feeling, like something's happening that you don't like, then do something that makes it that don't happen. Like it's a difference between somebody bragging about you and then they talking crazy about you. You know what I mean?
right,
You don't
right,
want people to talk crazy about you. Don't give them nothing crazy to talk about. You
right,
know what I
right,
mean?
right.
Yeah.
And then, I'm noticing this. So many people are deflecting in conversations, like, and
Hmm.
I think we have now more than ever, we have the best role model in the world. Like
Hmm.
everybody in this administration does it
Hmm.
so well. So
That's
like
true.
it is done so extremely well. I gotta share with you something I observed in my
Hmm.
own like um the situation with these emotional terrorists that we have.
Hmm.
You know,
Hmm. Hmm.
it was there was this reflection of like when I come to them about things that I want them to do, whatever it is,
Hmm.
and I'm saying
Hmm.
them because I don't want to single either one of them out.
Right, 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 right,
They've both done this
right.
at some point in their lives where if I bring something up to them, then they immediately talk about my flaws, right? So, or if there's something that's wrong, right, that happens, it says, well, I couldn't talk to you anyway because, and here's the thing, mom, you're so judgmental.
Yeah, like it's you the problem in this, right?
Right?
When it's their life. No, I'm with you on that.
Right? And I'm
I'm
kind
with
of
you.
supposed to be like,
Hmm.
I need permission to judge these little bamas that
Hmm.
that make decisions, and then when the
Hmm.
decisions are not good or difficult, then I'm allowed to say like, this was the car that I was trying to tell you to avoid, and now you're in an accident. So,
Hmm.
now I get, and you need my help to get you out of the accident. You can't be acting like I didn't tell you. And so, aside from me jumping up and down, like, I told you so, I told you so, I told you so, which a part of me wants to do that a lot of the time. Like, I told you this was going to happen, but you don't listen. You don't value
Hmm.
my wisdom. So now it's like, yes, you get the mom lecture, and that's not bad. And when I share that story with, let's just say, Uncle, who's now hearing
Hmm.
a part of the story, Uncle
Hmm.
cares about you too.
Yeah,
So,
that's right. That's right.
and Uncle wants to know how, if he ever had to give you guidance or wisdom, you would receive it. So I'm sharing this so Uncle knows, nah, they're not gonna take that information because they might,
They ain't
they
ready to
might,
receive.
they ain't
They
gonna,
ain't ready to receive that.
they like to be hostile.
No, I'm with you. I mean, I think that definitely, it's like, like they say, it takes a village or whatnot, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, like I said, now if you don't want people to be in your business, and it's a thing about accepting yourself or who you are truly, right?
Mhm.
And if you accept yourself, even if you make mistakes, you own them. You're
Mm,
accountable for it and you own it. Because I always be thinking about this like accountability issue, self accountability, right?
mm,
Because like you said, if somebody doing something, we talking about them and that thing.
mhm.
Them spending it to talk about you is irrelevant at that moment. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
Yeah, because this got everything to do with you. So let's just focus on that. So,
Mhm.
but I think the self accountability thing is a challenging thing. Like the other day, me and my brother, we were like on a three-way conference call with this lady that's very um devout Christian is how she considers herself to be, right?
Mhm.
And specifically, she sees herself as pure, like the ones that are I forget what they call it. It's like the ones that go back scholarly to confirm and verify different things, so they feel like so 100% confident that this is ultimately truth, right?
Okay.
So we were talking to her, and she kept doing this funny thing that me and my brother were commenting on later on, right? Which is like we'll bring up something and then she would not be fully accountable on that thing. It would be like she would do the thing that you say your kids would do. So for example, we talked about Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, right? And my brother asked her, "Yo, did Eve mention the snake, the conversation with the snake to Adam when she went to him and told him that she ate the thing?" And so we all researched it right then and there, and the answer to that was no. She didn't mention nothing about no snake deceiving her. She just said that she ate the thing, right? And so we went to laughing and joking about it and saying that well, that was an important aspect that she left out of this thing of how she came to eat this thing. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, because if Adam had known she did it because she got deceived by a snake presence, maybe he might have thought twice. You know what I mean? But then her response was, well, when they got in front of God, like, God said, Adam had the bigger responsibility. And I was like, how Adam have a bigger responsibility when Eve ate it first? You know what I mean? So it ain't no big, like, what I mean? So she tried to pass the buck of blame to Adam when Adam ain't had no participation in the deception that happened between Eve and the snake,
Right.
right? And he was missing information when she presented the thing to him.
Right.
But
Right.
he got the bigger responsibility or whatever, right?
But okay, I'm gonna
So
push back on that. Don't you say men have that responsibility?
they do,
They're
but see, that's what I
responsible
say.
for
But the
saving
woman,
all these women that's got to be on our knees obeying. Now I see you over here.
yeah, no, but
But
I'm
let
just
me know
saying
she
that.
group chat. The group chat might be firing up here.
What I'm
You
saying
over
is,
here. You
I'm
over
not, I'm
here.
not, I'm not denying that a man's supposed to be accountable because I'm saying that. But you tell me how in those scenarios, right, where he has absolutely no involvement in the dialogue between Eve and the snake, right? He has no involvement in that whatsoever,
And didn't even know
and
there was lack of
and
awareness.
didn't he even know that there was even a snake that deceived her to do this. He didn't even
Right.
know that, right?
Right.
So
Right.
at the end of the day, all he was presented with was the fact she did something she wasn't supposed to do, and that there was some big consequence that might come from it. But no woman looks at that and says the fact that he decided to then partake too, was the greatest love story a person could ever, that was the greatest act of love a person has ever done. Because he could have been like, oh no, you're bad. You disobedient. Like you wrong. Like, I ain't doing this, you know. But he said, you know what? Let me take part in this fate with you, you
Let
know.
me ask you
But
this. This
mm-hmm,
is totally going away from the subject of these deflecting kids, but
mm-hmm,
it's right on brand for
mm-hmm,
where your mind always takes this
mm-hmm.
is. And it gets back to a communication difference. Is my question for that was, did Adam ask the right questions?
What could he ask? Like when she says, like without knowing that, see, this is why I say, like, in terms of full accountability, right?
Hmm.
I think you
Did
know,
you
we
sit on
still
that?
we
You
s-
didn't even sit on that question. You just want to answer it.
no, I'm sitting on it like I'm sitting on the question because I'm saying that how can you be fully responsible and all this stuff accountable for things when people leaving out info?
Well,
Like
but
let's
that's
just
my
say for
great point. So if this let's take this away from the biblical experience into like
hmm
if a woman drugged you, got you to drink, got you to drink it, roofied your drink, right?
hmm
Came over there and you what you paid attention to was the shiny object, beautiful woman.
right, 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 right,
And you know,
right.
you said, and she says, beautiful woman to beautiful man, I'm giving you a drink. You
hmm
know, and you ain't never met this woman, you ain't never, understood why she came over, the human ego would be like, sure, beautiful woman gives a beautiful man a drink, and you're gonna partake, and that's how your organs get stuck, right? So
Well,
get
I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it
no, no,
because
no, you would do it.
I
You would
would I wouldn't do it because like you said, I don't eat or drink off everybody's hand. So if I go to people's houses, I don't eat, and if I don't eat nor drink, and then
you
and
don't eat
then if
or drink.
eat nor drink, I don't do
I,
none of that.
I'm about if there was a button that could push BS on it, I'm talking about
I
you
don't
told me
even I don't eat nor drink. That's why every time I go to people's houses, they're like, "Damn, this boy don't eat." Because where do you eat? I don't eat at nobody's house.
well,
And I also,
you told me before, all you want to do is be served by supermodels. You told
well, I said please to serve, and I like I say, I don't backbite on that. Like that's definitely what I desire. But what I'm saying is that if I had to see it, have you washed your hands? Where'd you get the glass from? Where that pour come from? If all that happened outside of my view, nope, I ain't partaking.
so I think
Not
you
at
better
all.
tell your friends that because
Huh?
some people getting their organs put off the side of the road because they're not being as curious. And so it brings me back to I think most people are hypnotized by what they see versus what they should be the questions they should ask. And I actually we were talking about that a lot in the group chat because uh,
hmm
the group chat was like everything when they really peel away the layers, it's about communication. And then
Yeah, I agree. I
and
totally agree. It's about communication and then understanding, right? Because I feel like this. But you're right. Like communication is like such a huge part, and I think like not too many people, uh, are first of all skilled in it. Because I think again, that thing I sent you where Tupac was talking about school, where he
hmm
said what the purpose of school was,
hmm
and that like basically we don't get taught life skills in school,
hmm
you
hmm
know, not directly, like basically what it means when you start a family or be with somebody, and what the obligation that you guys have to each other, and all these other you're not taught those things, right? And then just to make that one conversation I was telling you about with me and my brother and this lady full circle, there also was some things that Adam did that was suspect, like when they were confronted by God, he also did say, like, man, this woman that you gave me, she did this thing or whatever. He did say that, when God was basically holding them accountable and then about to make them face the consequence of their action.
Wow.
So I say that to say to
What did
you,
he say? He said,
he
what did
said
he
that just that the woman that you gave me did this, like basically like
you
kind of
just
like,
threw her under the bus.
well, so my thing is he was being truthful. He's being honest, but it was kind of pointing a finger of blame at her, like, well, I ate it, yes, but the woman you gave me is the, and then
Is the person who brought
he's
this to
also
me.
pointing blame at God too, like you gave me this woman, you know, that this is what you gave me, this disobedient creature. I've been obeying you, this disobedient creature. It's her nature. Like this, you gave me this woman, and I did this thing, whatever. But that was kind of not manly. You know what I mean? To
Right.
a
Okay. I'm
certain
glad. I
certain
like
degree.
see, this is where
Yeah.
you get so much credit when you you actually jump in and talk about what our responsibilities are. But in all relationships, I would say is maybe asking more questions to bring this
Hmm.
full circle, is appropriate. Um, so we can understand from other people's perspective. But that also requires a willingness to share information as, hear me now, truthfully as possible. So, I don't need you to lie to me because you think it's for my own good, right? I need you to tell me all the truth. So that's like how Eve, she in some way may have been deceptive, because I know that most people say, "Hey, I found this apple from this tree and I got it this time." But all she was saying was like, "Please eat this apple." Because she knew. And I think that's the thing that we don't talk about enough. Like, we make room for our own, like, deviant behaviors, our own
But
deviant.
it's called justifying. We justify. It's called justification. And also we do that for other people bad behavior. Because like let's just say, right, if like right now we like try to think through why people are a certain type of way. And I think probably because of your profession, you got to do it all the time because you got to make diagnosis of people and all this. But inside of doing that though, when you realize somebody is doing like deviant things, right? You know, it can't be justified because, like, let's just say if somebody's a pedophile because they got molested when they was a kid.
Mhm.
But there's plenty of people who have had that experience that don't be that.
Yeah.
So then that means that the people who are choosing to be that, then we can't rationalize away or justify their behavior.
Mhm.
We just have to call it what it is, which is that person deviant,
Right.
and that and their choices that they made is aligned with
Their
their
beliefs.
soul and their nature and their character, because otherwise they wouldn't be able to do it. You know
Right.
what I
But
mean?
that would make a lot of us be alone. Because if we had to look at every little negative thing that a person does, which is really
Hmm.
hard, like for us to even look at ourselves, you
Hmm.
know, would you like anyone? Would you
But
like,
how do you
this is why
correct
I be
yourself
talking
if
about
you don't?
their kids, so I can like them a little bit, you know?
Well, how you correct yourself if you got these, because everybody got blind spots on themselves, right? So
Mhm.
how do you correct yourself if you don't deal with yourself truly? You know
But
what I
who
mean? So
deals with, like, it takes a really, like, I don't know that too many people are dealing with themselves. That might be the homework for everybody in the group chat. Really deal
mhm.
with yourself and ask yourself what you bring and how you are making selections, which, again, that might be for the person who's like, well, I select them based on their foot size. Uh, you know,
Well, it's funny because, like you said, inside of communication too, I think you know there's a communication style that's manipulative, right? Because
mm,
let's just say, and a lot of women will this. To be
oh
real
my
with you,
gosh, a lot
I
of
would say that
women,
a lot
a
of,
lot of
why
women.
I would say, I'm gonna give you a perfect example of it, right? So definitely, like even she, like say withholding information, all this stuff, like provocative about uh eating this thing that she did or whatever, like
Why do you think she
that
was
was
provocative? That's a new
because
word.
that was it was manipulative about the way she presented it to him.
She
Like
just said, I got a nice apple.
it wasn't like, guess what happened? I came across this thing. Had a conversation with a snake. Snake told me this, and then I ate this thing. That might have made him be like, "Oh, wait a minute." Somebody told you whatever. Like maybe he wouldn't have did it if that happened. You know
So
what I mean?
why do you say manipulative? Because
So
I
why
don't
say manipulative? Like let's just say right now when you talk to somebody, right? When you're having
Mhm.
communication, you have real talk. So I'm gonna give you a hypothetical conversation, and then
Okay.
you tell me where you see the points of manipulation.
Okay.
So let's say I'm talking to a young lady, right? And
Mhm.
I got kids and she got kids, right? And she asked me, "Do you want any more kids?" Right? Let's say, yeah, this is made up conversation, so people don't need to be trying to attach it to the other, right? Let's say, so if I say, and if I really think on it, reflect on it, and be like, you know what, um, it ain't my intention to start this game over to have no kids, right?
Mhm.
But if I did, if it was in God's divine plan to do it, whatever I deal with, I embrace it.
Mhm.
And now, in that woman's mind, she starts thinking this. Well, what age range would you go? Because basically, that sounded like to her, you want kids, or you open to having kids. So she's like, well, what age range would you want to date then? And you like, age range? Where? How the question now divert to that, right? And then you like, oh, whatever age. Let's just say you gotta, because I heard Leonardo DiCaprio don't date nobody over 24, which I don't know how old he
What?
is, but I think he definitely over,
Older than
probably a
that?
little older
Yeah.
us. Yeah, so that means he discriminating on anybody over 24, right?
Okay.
So I say that to say, um, you know, it's like these questions are setups to conclusions that people are already making up in their mind. And let's just say the lady say to you, "Well, I don't want to have any more kids because I got a gang of kids already." You know,
Uh-huh.
so I don't want to have any kids. So if you're looking for kids, then I'm the wrong one now, right? So
Mhm.
I would say this to that. If I met a lady right now that don't have no kids at all, right? And I asked her, do she want to have kids? And then she say no, then that's a interesting. So I, like you said, now I got to ask another question for clarity, right? Because I
Mhm.
actually have two kids, right? So
Mhm.
if you don't want no kids at all, then I'm the wrong man for you because I got two kids. So they gonna be kids that's in your life if
Right.
you messing with me, you know.
Right.
So if you got kids and I'm messing with you, whether you want new kids or not, I got to deal with those kids you got in
Mhm.
some way, shape, or form. I have to deal with them.
Mhm.
So if I told you no, I don't want kids, that means I don't want your three kids neither, four kids, five kids, six, whatever amount of kids you got, I don't want them neither. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? So so really, you want a man that wants kids then to
Right.
embrace the family that you have. You know, so these I feel like sometimes when people communicate with you, they like trying to lead you down a path, and I feel like women had
So wait a
that
minute.
they had that
Wait,
style. You
are
know what I
you
mean?
that easily led? That I cannot believe it. That this person who is, I know you to be a questioner. And I know you to be, so you're telling me if you go on a date and a girl says, "Are you open to children?" Okay. And if let's use this, that it wouldn't invite curiosity. So if shame on you people. So if everybody out there is dating and you all are just not being curious, shame on you. Because
Well, I heard.
shame on you. And I'm going to give this back to you. You need to start asking questions. You need to be, listen, you need to start asking questions. You need to be getting in their business. You need to be doing background checks and Googling people. Because if and you don't, you missing out on a lot.
Well,
And I
I
know that
heard.
if women are doing it, men are doing it too.
Yeah,
So don't
yeah, we all doing it on both sides, but
people.
but I heard that there's some women that just want to have a baby, right?
It could
So
be.
so
But
they
wait
just
a
be
minute.
they.
You make men out to be these innocent
No,
people
oh
who
no, no,
rip
no,
on
no, no.
these women, and they find a person who who might be younger, and then she might want to have kids. Listen, if you're dating a younger woman, she wants children.
Well, see,
You
that's
ain't down.
implied. So that's implied. So that's why I say, like, if somebody came to you and they were like, you older than 20 something, you ain't in your 20s no more, right? But if you only
Right.
dating people in your 20s, then those people would imply that it would be implied in that you opening to have more kids because that's what's going to happen if you dating people in that age range, let's say.
Or you
So
could have a vasectomy. I mean,
you could, you
none of
could,
these
you
things
could,
have to be acted upon. We're in
yeah, yeah.
2026. We are not acted upon. And what the reality, you laughing because it's true. You
Well,
know,
I'm just laughing because I see like the like women have this way of like trying to steer things in their way, like lead you to a certain type of direction in their communication style that I consider to be manipulative. Like
so
it'll be
we're
like,
leading. So you don't
yeah,
have
y'all
any
y'all like
control
try to
over the
steer,
conversation.
and it's interesting because I see how in a woman's world, like, she got to do that in ways, so
Like
like
a
that
woman's world.
necessary. Yeah, well, I say
I
in a
think men
woman's
don't say
world.
enough. I think women ask a lot of questions and you lie.
Well,
Like
what
your
I'm trying to
children,
say,
you lie.
women do too, though, because Grandma Rose told me always remember that women have lots of secrets, not men. women. And then I say this to say
She was trying to
that,
help you out. She was trying to
well,
save you.
yes, she was trying to help me, but I'm gonna tell you some honest truth. I found that to be absolutely true. And
Oh,
then,
wait, you
and I
found
would say
that
that
women have a
men,
lot of secrets. That is the
s-
truth.
yeah, but for men, for the most part, no matter what, we have to definitely deal with the brunt of the consequences of stuff. It's like right now, let's just say, for instance, if a man has a family, most of the time, now I don't know about all of these outlying people and stuff like this, but most of the time, this is going to happen. If a man has a family and he the wrong one, he does something that breaks this family up, then he gotta pay alimony, child support. All he probably lose everything financially off of his mistake. If in the same situation, given the same man, same woman, if she is the one at fault, and if the situation get broke up, the outcome is still the same for the man. He still got to pay alimony, child support, all that, and that's unfair. I
Well, the
feel
law,
like
okay, I
that's
would say,
unfair.
but
That's
there's
like
some
not fair.
states, so the laws make it that way, but
Hmm.
also the
It's
human
unjust.
characteristic make it is okay. Listen, men, it's unjust. I'm gonna give you that, but what I'm also gonna give men some ownership of, this is some ownership, friends, is that first you got to be careful who you procreating with. That's on you that you are picking these little scallywag women. I have some friends that them paid dudes to get out of their lives. Like, listen, what you want? I'll give you 30, $40,000 just to leave me.
Mm.
So that has happened too. So there's a lot of
Hmm.
people, women who are carrying around this extra baggage and this dead weight that you know what? And the very thing that they're telling themselves, I'm gonna ask different questions. I'm gonna uh
Hmm.
use myself wisely. So don't deflect and say, oh, the woman, I was taken over by this manipulative woman. Ask yourself, why didn't you ask good questions? Why weren't you curious? And what I bet the answer to that is I ignored a lot of things.
Well,
So
let's just say if a woman wants to do something Friday at 5, right?
yeah.
So and she knows it. Like she's like, ooh, Friday at 5. I want to go to this new restaurant, and I want to do this with my man, and that's all good. Fine and dandy, everything's good. Fine and dandy with that, right? But let's just say, the man gets off of work at 5, right?
Mhm.
So in order for you to make this thing happen, you got to see now, man, is it possible for you, like on Friday, do you have anything else you're going to do after work? Because without the man knowing that you want to do this thing, right? He might dilly dally right after work or what. He might go to the store, do something, whatever. So you'll say to him, hey, instead of being like, I want us to do this thing on Friday, you start seeing if he got anything. You got anything else to do on Friday after work? No. Okay, cool. You think you're gonna get off around 5? Yeah, yeah. Well, but you don't get straight to the point on.
Well,
Hey,
I
let's.
think that says something. If you're in that kind
Yeah.
of communication, I think that that person doesn't fully trust you. So then the
Oh,
question,
word.
yeah, I think that that style of communication means that they don't fully trust you. So then what about you has made that person either feel psychologically unsafe or physically unsafe that they just can't ask you that question? And a lot of, you laugh, you laugh because it's
I
not
know.
something you think about, but that's what many women are thinking about. Like, there's harm that can happen. So
Hmm.
it's communication is not just the responsibility of the speaker, it's the responsibility of the listener as well. So what responsibility
Yeah, I
do you
agree.
take, in
I
that?
agree. I totally agree that in communication is active participants on both, whether you're the communicator or you're the listener. Yeah, I agree. And the roles shift around, but I don't know. I guess what I'm trying to get at is in this complex human interaction, it's all these what I would consider games happening. Like I would say, true. Another thing with just amongst men, right? It's all this, uh, for lack of a better way of putting it, fuckery happening sometimes, right? You
Okay.
know, and it's just all kind of game, with some,
Hmm.
which I don't like because I feel like honestly, I love it when people live up to their word being a bond,
Mhm.
right? You say
Mhm.
something, you're gonna do something.
Mhm.
And then you don't do all this like fluffy things, like I guess you say mystical things to distract from the fact that you have to do this one tangible thing, you
Mhm.
know? So I would say like a lot of people do that that sleight of hand, got a whole lot of motion going on, but they don't follow through,
Mhm.
with stuff. And
Well, that's because it works for them. Like,
yeah,
that's worked for them in the past.
but that lack of follow through doesn't work for nobody, because I think like ultimately the reason why people are able to uh, reach their goals in life that they set is because they follow through. They end something that they begin. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And
Mhm.
they stick with it and all this stuff. And all this stuff really comes down to, like you say, just principle. Because like truth be told, in my life, when I found myself in a very bad circumstance, right? You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Mhm.
But I found myself in this environment where the program was set up to for us to know what our problems were and everybody else's problems that were around us. And whenever we saw that thing arise, to check each other when that happened. And I found that to be so effective. And I've talked to some other dudes that went through that program afterward, and we all agree that that was so impactful. And I think the
What you
reason why it
learned?
was
What
so
was the best lesson?
well, the first thing is awareness of self and others, right? Because I
Mhm.
think the truth is that I might not know something of myself, right? Because like again, the number one fundamental principle is consciousness knows nothing of itself, meaning it's blind to its own self. Like
Mhm.
they said, Kanye West was mother was saying that uh, a giant um, seeing its reflection in the mirror doesn't see a giant or something like this. I can't remember exactly verbatim how it is, but it's that concept, right?
Mhm.
Where consciousness don't know nothing of itself, is blind. So if that's true, like I would say somebody doing an intake of me and they saying, well, based on what I could see of you, and you ain't never met me before, like right now with you,
Mhm.
if I'm your client and I come in and you doing an intake of me, and you tell me, look, you got these issues, these 3, 4 issues. Truth be told, in my back of my mind, I'm like, man, what this chick talking about? She don't know me. She just met me for the first time. How she know I got these issues so definitively?
Right.
And you got like a profile of me up based on actions that I have done,
Yes.
right? And
Mhm.
that's how you're formulating this conclusion of these issues I have, right?
Mhm.
Now, when you have told me these issues, right, I might not know it still. I might not be accepting the reality of it, but then in action, you catch me in the act, handing the cookie jar, and you're like, there you go. That's the issue I pointed out. And when that happens in that moment, I can see it. Like,
Mhm.
oh yeah, she right. You know?
Well, I
Yeah.
think just so people don't get scared of psychology and mental health, that's
Yeah,
just
right.
not how it works. I think
Hmm.
we don't we're not we there's no magic wand. I can't come in and predict a person, or say that I know what you're feeling or thinking off of one touch point. It's the multiple touch points that gain the clarity. And what we're doing is we're asking questions, being curious, and hypothesis testing what we think is happening.
Yeah, you
So,
have a scientific process because that's
right,
what the hypothetical process is. It's a
so we're
scientific.
testing what we
It
suppose.
is that's true. But when you're doing this, right? Because let's just say when you're doing mass intake, let's just say right now, you're doing mass intake for people that's going into the military, and you got to do psychological analysis on a quick for them.
Mhm,
And all you got is like a form for them, and
mhm,
it's all
mhm.
kinds of things like, well, this person graduated high
Expectations,
school, they
different,
went
yeah.
to college, they had this situation with their family,
Mhm,
and they did some things. They got caught stealing in the store, or they got domestic violence thing where, and from this stuff you formulate conclusions to stuff. Like for instance, this person is impulsive, you
mhm,
know because you could see that based off of things, right? Like you got anger problems or whatever, you most likely got an impulsivity issue.
mhm, mhm,
If you beat the hell out of people, you got a inability to empathize with others.
Mhm.
Because if you did, you probably wouldn't be beating
Right,
them and stuff, right?
right.
So these things you could definitively come to some sort of conclusion based off of the actions that you see people do, right? So now if that happens and you know enlightening that consciousness, and they're rejecting it and not accepting it at first, but when you see them do the thing that you pointed out to them, like I say, a lot of people have a victim stance in mindset.
Mm.
Hence that thing that we was talking about with Adam getting confronted by God, and he's saying, "Well, shit, man, you gave me the woman, like that's,
Your
I'm the
fault.
victim. This is your creation that you gave me. I'm innocent in this. If you never created this woman, I never would have ate off of this because I've been here all this time and I didn't do that. You know what I mean? But that's
And
a
you know,
victim.
that's a
That's a
lot of
victim.
people. It's
That's
a
a
lot.
victim stance and mindset, though, right? Instead of
Mhm.
being like, I did this. I chose this for doing whatever reason why he did it. Well, I did this for this reason. That's a totally different thing. But most mindsets, because of ego and pride, got some form of victim stance in what they do.
Mhm.
That's why, like somebody will say to you, uh, I lied for your benefit, you
Yes.
know, because, but really though, that ain't the truth. It's manipulation in this because I don't want you to react to the truth in a certain type of way. So, or sometimes it might be like, I do believe, I'm predicting that this truth might be too painful for you. So at the end of the day, I really don't want to cause you pain, but it's still a truth. So if it's, it's like, even
So
though
how
I
do you
want
do
to,
that? So let me give you like a how you
Mhm,
do that is say, ask the person's permission.
mhm,
Do you want this information
mhm,
knowing it will be painful? Some
mhm,
people may say no, like, no,
mhm,
no,
mhm,
it's too painful. I don't want to do it.
mhm,
But if
mhm,
someone
mhm,
opens, then again, it's their own choice. And I think the difference,
mhm,
that autonomy and saying, like, I got to choose this is very important. Speaking of
mhm.
choice, because God, time is flying.
I feel you.
Did you read the young man about the article about the young man who said that he does not believe that he has to move out of his parents' home and get a job because he had absolutely no choice in coming to this earth. And
No,
so
I never heard nothing
it
like
was,
that.
listen, these new terrorists, I'm telling you, these little people are G's. And
Right.
because they had no choice, he was not of his own free will, that he now must be taken care of by the people who made that choice with their own free will to have him. So he rejects it with all absolution that he has to go and get a job, and that it is his parents' responsibility to care for him the duration of his life.
That's interesting.
It's very
And
interesting. It's
to a certain degree, he got like a little modicum of validity in what he's saying.
what
A
part?
little modicum, because it is true that his life is a consequence of other people's choices. But what
True.
he don't realize is, where the deep appreciation and gratitude come in is that it's still also a choice of whether they want to be a parent or not, if they want to take care of you or not. That's
Mhm.
not a damn given, you know.
Mhm.
See, I think like in our experience, we really full well know that,
Yeah.
because
But he must not full well know that.
he don't know that yet
He
because
don't know that.
he got parents that actually must already have done a bunch of things for
Oh,
him.
they must have.
Yeah, because
I really wish I knew his full profile.
hmm
I think that the case is like he's about to sue because the parents
mm.
want this person to, like, he's like a ideal failure to launch. And he's like basically saying, well, I'm entitled to being taken care of because I didn't ask to be here. And now you want me to go out into this world and do all this labor. And I didn't choose to do this. And so it's an interesting argument. It's a really interesting argument.
Yeah, it is. It
And
is.
what is teaching me though is that a part of the human condition is survival. And so if
Hmm.
this kid wins, right? This kid wins and gets his way on what he wants. The precedent that
I
it's
know.
for
Yeah.
parents is gonna be
Hmm.
deep because,
Yeah, yeah. It's
it's
gonna
gonna
set
be
a crazy
it's
precedent
gonna
for
set a
sure.
crazy precedent because in some way there is truth to like his life began with someone else's decision. But in fact, all of our lives they began with someone else's decision. So then are we not trying to raise other species and humans because we want to continue the line, or is it that we now have to be responsible? No, but you know what I thought was dope? I was like, humans are the only people that act like this.
I
Lions
know.
fight their kids and get them out. But humans gonna sit here and have an argument about creation and say, "Well, I ain't asked to be here. Y'all was the one having fun. And now you have to be responsible to respond. I am now your responsibility." I wish a lion cub would come back to his parents like, "Look, I can't get out of here. Y'all got to hunt for me. You
All
got
right, man. I feel like these like in the real animal kingdom, and it's in people, we in the animal kingdom
we
too.
are. We're the animal
But
king.
in the real, like I guess in this unfiltered animal kingdom, the laws of survival are super strong. Like I
Mhm.
would say, these little cute little raccoon or whatever that I seen. I learned that the raccoons they like the lions, which I ain't know, which is the mother raccoons. They be trying to like hide the litter of raccoons when they born, because other male raccoons or even sometimes the father will kill them just so
Really?
that to get the mother back in heat again.
Really? I
And
didn't
it's
know that.
wild though to me because I was thinking to myself like, now how? And do you know that happens with lions too?
Oh, is that, but I
But
thought that not the dad though, right?
not the dad. No, 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 not the dad. But I just say like the the main head lion
Yeah,
of a
yeah.
pride. If he get killed, and he got cubs. They gonna kill his cubs, and then
Yeah.
the mothers of those cubs gonna go in heat, and the dude gonna have sex with them to create his own bloodline.
Right.
But I always be wondering, in this thought process, I'm like, now how the female of that species willing to have sex with this thing that just killed her babies? Why would she want to do that? And
Because
then
I
I'm
think their
thinking,
brains are not like their emotional centers are the same like humans. Seriously. Um,
but why but then why they so aggressive? Like, right now,
because it's about survival. It's about species survival. So
it
we
is. The
have
program is
children
funny.
for species survival. We're driven by this animalistic, which is funny because I'm encountering all these women who are like having
Mhm.
something called womb crave, which I guess I didn't have because I had kids so early, but where they like literally are going around, and if you have a viable penis and some good sperm, they are trying to like, so you got to be careful. Like, I'm not saying it's hard, you have to be careful because some people are truly like the requirements are not a lot, like,
Mhm.
you just
Mhm.
some of them are like, you just got to be at least symmetrical, you got to have a job. But they're really trying to have kids. They're saying they're physically, their bodies are telling them they need to be mothers. And um,
Mm.
it's interesting to me what that looks like because there's not a lot of forethought put into it. Like whenever, it's one of my friends was in that situation. And then, I hear a lot about being a single mom in this dialogue. And I'm like, but you actually went after being a single mom. Like it wasn't
I know.
like you
I
wanted
know.
to have a relationship with the person. This person always was a bad catch for you. But
Mhm.
there was a lot of good about their fertility that you wanted. And I think that that's not a discussion that many people have, but it's an honest one because I think people are like
Mhm.
literally like listing off like, well, did they have kids before? Yes, so I know they can have kids. They're, they're
Mm.
they're going through this checklist because they're at an age where children matter to them.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
that actually happens too. And to me, it's still linked to that survivability of our species because everyone wants something that's a part of them. You know,
Yeah, I hear you on that one. I hear you on that one. I mean, but to me, like some aspects of the way natural law is written is it is a little bit feral. You know what I mean? It's like,
mhm.
yeah, so but I
A
just see
little bit.
also
It's a
get
lot of
a
it.
lot of big, yeah, but but to me when I see these crazy acting women and men. That's what the new name for them is, feral now. Shout out to my brother for passing me that insight.
Oh,
But it's wild. They wild. They wild. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Yeah,
right.
they wild. And I feel like everything, like these hermetic principles start with the universe being the mind.
Mhm,
Everything is mental, right?
mhm, mhm,
And I really do believe that's the like the womb of uh of of reality and the
mhm,
creation of whatever is to come. So then in that very real sense, then you got to really be uh mindful, like basically guarding your mind and the
mhm,
stuff that goes into it and what's fed out of it.
mhm.
Have you ever seen people that got Tourette's?
I did. And did you? I've seen it. Yeah. Why? Would you?
So I'm curious. I'm curious about this, right? First of all, you think do you think that you could ever date a person that had the Tourette's?
That would not be somebody I would select.
I think that, and not to beat on somebody that got it, because I feel like that'd be a big challenge for sure.
It would
But
be a
I've
all
always
tic
wanted.
disorders are a big challenge, but Tourette's is very specific type of tic disorder.
Yeah,
So,
that's a wild joint. So I was
mhm,
thinking, the stuff that they be shouting out, because my brother was telling me that
the
Michael B.
one
Jordan
shouted
was
out
good.
the N
He's
word.
tell-
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I was thinking to myself, uh, that how like sometimes right now, probably in the midst of us having this conversation, we having multiple overlapping thought streams.
Right.
So that had to be a thought that was in them that they are shouting that tick out though, right?
Hmm.
Because it can't be like right now, they could have said anything like beautiful person or
Right.
a
Right.
beautiful soul or
Right.
why that, you know what I mean? So
Well, and
it make me
I think
think
the science is not complete on that, but what I
hmm
will say is I'm
it's got to
pushing.
be in them.
It's in them, right. I was just about to
Hmm.
say, I'm pushing the BS button on that. It could
Hmm.
the science says it happens spontaneously, but it's a
Hmm.
vocabulary word that you would have had to acquire. And so, that's where I push the BS button on it.
I'm
Now,
with you
I
on
will
that.
say that they can't control it once it starts. So, like,
I agree. I
if
agree.
and I would even make it as something as like this. I saw this one time where um this kid had a tic disorder and he always said big bird, big bird, big bird. It was like the thing, right? And but then there was somebody that looked like Big Bird. And it's really hard to believe that that person is not calling you Big Bird.
I know, right?
And then like there was this, I work with the little kids too, and they were like, you're fat, and so it's like if you're a counter like a fat person, it's really hard to believe that that's not personal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah,
Or
yeah.
yucky or nasty. Like they like the kid had a snotty nose, and the kid would repeat over and over. So or but so definitely it's a word that they've acquired. It is something that they've been introduced to. And it's what I would want to know about that particular case was like, was that his
Hmm.
recitation word before, or did it just happen when he
Hmm.
saw those people? And then
Hmm.
because of the level of stress that occurred, because it was
Hmm.
a part of his thought stream, that it created this tick reaction. Because
Yeah,
why
that compulsion to bird it out. Yeah.
right to come out, and then all of a sudden he couldn't help it because he does
Hmm.
have this kind of neurological condition. But
Hmm.
like tic disorders are like the squiggling of your face and it's a lot of different things, and it's more
Hmm.
common than you think because
Yes, yes, yes.
I was on the and it's the little like little bark stuff like
Hmm.
that stuff drives you nuts after a while.
Yeah, it does. You're like,
So, I was
God.
on the plane and somebody had a tick disorder, but it was funny because when they talked, the ticks went away. But when they were just sitting in
Mm.
like calm and, I was like, oh my God, it's a tick,
You're like,
you know? Um, so like
hey, so
really
I was
you wanted to be like, talk all day long, you know?
right, right, because I was thinking like, in that kind of situation, somebody got to really, really love you then. And I mean, like the way that they were able to grow to do that, they had to get past all that, to
Yeah.
see the beautiful person underneath. So I commend people that can get past that gate, but
Well,
that
did
might be
grandma
a
say
tough
there's
one for
somebody
me.
for everybody? Grandma
Yeah, yeah, no doubt.
and I listen. Have you
Mhm.
watched Love on the Spectrum?
Hmm?
It's on Netflix. It's called Love on
Nah,
the
nah, I ain't never seen it. Nope.
You gotta watch it because
Mm-mm.
that just gives me so much hope for love. Like the group chat
Mhm.
is if these people can find a person,
Mhm.
you can find a person because it's like, and one of
Mhm.
the things I realized on this show and it just in the world is like attracts like. So like
Mm.
if you're
Mhm.
attracted to similar things
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
you're gonna find your person.
Mhm.
But sometimes you be like, that's an odd, but they find each other. So,
Mm.
and I'm being very careful because I got the judgmental label placed on me by these little Taliban leaders in my family. So,
Well, you know
that
what? It's funny because they lucky because you give them an example of things. You know what I'm saying? Where I feel like you're uh for lack of a better way of describing it, because I was trying to say this in the most offensive way to like other women, which is there's some women that are wifey material and some that ain't. You know what I
Mhm,
mean?
mhm,
And 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 I think the ones that ain't know it. You know,
mhm,
they might be trying to not accept it mentally. They deny and rejecting it of themselves. But they lucky because they got a good example of you know feminine energy and masculine energy in their life,
mhm, mhm,
and how that should interact with each other.
mhm,
And a lot of people don't really have that, so I would consider them to be blessed as a result. But you got to highlight it when somebody is actually wielding the principles of like femininity or masculinity. You know what I mean? And I
yeah,
would say like for you, what I see is certain little things that make your situation solid, right? First of all, it's just intent and choices, right?
mhm,
Where you intend to for this thing to be a certain type of way,
mhm, mhm,
and that comes deep within yourself, like who you are, and
mhm,
it's not because things are easy. It's
right,
because you choose that this is how things gonna be and all that, and that's what sets another person who ain't wifey material apart,
mhm,
because when those things become hard, when it ain't easy no more, they don't
mhm,
want it no more. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? And their choices and intentions be self-centered,
mhm,
self-focused, you
yeah.
know. So I'll give you a tremendous amount of credit,
And they
for
better let me talk bad about them because I'm telling you, I don't like all that tucking.
yeah,
So
I'm with you on
I
that.
don't think tucking is a valuable experience. So one of the
Mm-mm.
things that I need to do is discharge my anger and frustration and it's
Mm-hmm.
it's like a life skill. So and when
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about them, I'm not talking about them to harm them. It's usually
Mm-hmm.
to people that care about them and
Mm-hmm.
that want
Mm-hmm.
their the best for them too. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I get that kind of mirror sometimes. Um,
Mm-hmm.
of like, here's how you can handle this differently or say these things. And sometimes they agree and they say, no, this is the boundary you need to have. So that's a part of being like, I'm just done with this whole idea, like, you can't talk about nothing. You can't talk about like we are human. We talk about each other. And not all of it's with the intent to harm. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of it is
Mm-hmm.
like because we have these shared experiences and
Mm-hmm.
because we're in these experiences together, we're trying to grow from them too. And I want help a lot of times with the challenges of being a parent or of being a grandparent or of being an employer or an employee. Like it's not easy. So I go to people who can help me with that. And if you're a part of the story, which I love how you conceptualize like, well, you're telling your story and they just happen to be in it.
Right, right,
They
right,
done did something to
right,
you. So,
right,
like, yeah,
right.
I'm gonna use that every day. Like, I'm telling my story. I ain't talking about you. I'm telling what you did to me. And so that really makes it my story.
100%, and you should be able to have a great testimony on it, right?
Yeah. Oh, your mic cut out.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Say it again.
Yeah. So somebody had asked me if I was talking about being in poverty when we was growing up,
Mhm.
whatever. And they were surprised because they were like, "Well, when you was with Grandma Rose, you was in poverty and all this stuff." And I said, "Yeah, I was." But I never knew that until
So we left.
again, till we was grown. And I said, "You know what? uh, so they was like, "Well, how do you know that you was in poverty?" I said, "It's simple. I'm gonna tell you some real simple things of how you know now and looking back. And you know, the reason why I know now is because I know my children were very, you know, how you say, privileged and
Mhm.
exposed to that. So this number one thing is you were in poverty if you was ever in a house and there was only one bath and shower that everybody in that whole house shared. You know what I'm saying? So like
But we
the
had a
whole
lot of
time,
bedrooms.
whole time, yeah, you got this, but I'm saying you only got one bathroom that has
Mhm.
a shower in it that people can actually bathe in.
Mhm.
You in poverty, right? And I realized
And you're
all of
in
my
poverty.
childhood.
We're in poverty if you are shopping at the thrift store.
True,
Remember?
true.
Like
But you
all
know,
the
some
time.
people may got impoverished mindset and they still shop at the thrift store. But what I'm saying is, when I was a kid, I didn't know that didn't register to me.
No, me either.
Because we was in like you said, we was in a house that had multiple rooms and all this stuff
And running water because
and
we
running
weren't
water and stuff.
even. I
Yep.
think there are levels. So here's the thing, because I was having the same conversation with my husband. Like there are levels to poverty,
You
and I would. I
100%.
I think we were in the levels. We were at the bottom of the
No,
level.
we wasn't in the bottom.
We
We
were not
wasn't
at
in the
the bottom.
bottom, but our whole childhood life, we never had a house that was that had we had two showers in it. We didn't,
That's
you
true.
know. So
That's
that
very.
was interesting. I was thinking to myself, like my kids, they whole life, their
Mhm.
whole life
Had their own
had
bathroom.
their own shower and bathroom. And I was like, just off that alone,
Mhm.
you've been super privileged. You know what I mean? It
Mhm.
did. So you add like more things onto that, but I would say it that made me grateful and thankful. I mean, another thing was the fact that we went to McDonald's when you did something,
Mhm.
like something big. You got on the honor roll, or whatever. McDonald's was a treat to us.
Yeah.
You know, and I was like, my kid, he might come every day and be like, "Hey, can I get the McDonald's, or whatever?" And like, that ain't nothing to him. If you gave him McDonald's as a treat, he'll look at you crazy or whatever. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
what the hell is this? Like,
Like fast
you
food wasn't a treat. Yeah.
yeah. So
Eh, Cable, we didn't have cable.
we didn't have the cable and stuff like that.
We didn't have central air conditioning. Um,
That's
and
true.
Grandma went over
You
there
got
loud
you,
because those
yeah.
fans were
Anytime you got to turn on a big fan in the house, hey, and you got a big fan blowing. That's your AC. Then yeah, you in poverty, no doubt
like.
about it. You
And,
know what I'm
we didn't
saying?
realize, because of who
hmm
she wasn't clarifying like clinics, but we went to
hmm
a dental clinic. We went to
hmm
a medical clinic. We
hmm
got food from like a food pantry sometimes.
hmm
So
hmm
we didn't know that's what it was, but because she
Right,
this
right.
experience so sexy for us. But that's what it was. It was like, oh, we're gonna go get that big ass block of cheese and all,
hmm
and it was like
hmm
exciting and fun. And then we had, grilled cheese sandwiches. But there
hmm
were also things that I feel like we have been very wealthy for. One, our family owned land. That
hmm
in and of
hmm
itself is wealth.
hmm
We were on a huge farm that
hmm
produced produce.
Food
So
and stuff.
that
Yep.
was so it was a working farm that produced. So
hmm
we, in that
hmm
way, like I think I ate better than anybody
Yeah,
else.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
No doubt. Definitely,
we
we
had
was fed
fresh
well. No
foods, fresh
doubt.
things.
hmm
And the farm earned its money, but people don't know farming is a very costly endeavor. So you're spending so much money on the farming that you're not necessarily bringing in a lot of resource. So, I think it's relative because I think some people would say, well, your grandparents made X amount of money off of their property and were homeowners and was
hmm
a big house. It wasn't a little house. We grew up in a big house.
No, no doubt. All of that. All of the above.
But
All
there
the
were
above.
elements of poverty that, we know now.
hmm
And so I
hmm
think that's what's important. I think also, like, what I'm seeing is that the kids in this generation, because no matter
hmm
what, I feel like this generation has done a lot better than others. They
Yes, yes.
really don't know, like, struggle, right? Like,
hmm
so, like, they
hmm
would be very offended if they didn't get, what you said, like fast food. you know,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I was dreaming about that McDonald's to get that straight A, you know what I mean?
Mhm,
Or
mhm,
Sal's Pizza, which was the pizza parlor that we could
mhm,
go to,
mhm, mhm,
you know, instead of like grandma's homemade pizza that didn't
mhm,
that
mhm.
as much or homemade hamburgers that as much as she lied to you, it wasn't the same as, it wasn't the same. So I
Right,
think
right.
appreciation for that level of one, we all have extreme work ethics, and I think it comes from like we were farm raised. You know what I mean?
Mhm, mhm.
There was no um slacking where
Yep,
like
yep, yep.
literally like telling these kids to walk up the hill to get mail would kill them, where we
Right, right,
a
right.
lane to get mail every day. We thought it was the best thing. It carried watering cans to water her flowers that were by the mailbox to make them
Mhm,
busy. And I'm
mhm,
talking about several trips until we
mhm,
watered them
mhm.
satisfactory. So, I wouldn't trade anything about our upbringing because we do
Nah,
have
me neither. I wouldn't
wonderful
either because
work
it
ethics.
shaped us to who we were, man. Are
Right,
right now. So I
and
totally
the
agree.
research that says about poverty, I think it misses some of those tenacious aspects
Mhm,
of poverty,
mhm, mhm,
that I value. And I
mhm,
think there's principles that people who have to come up with not with lack have to develop.
mhm,
And I think that
mhm,
I've developed those and I always give that to that upbringing. Um,
mhm,
so yeah, it was different though. It was definitely
mhm,
different.
mhm,
And I
mhm.
celebrated. Your mind is being these kids can't even think, they can't write, they can't dream, they can't do anything. They got everything in the world.
Yeah, I totally agree, 100%. That dude James Baldwin, you had like some sort of thing, but James Baldwin, rest in peace.
Mm,
But he had like some sort of memorial thing happening in DC. They had like a show for him or whatever that depicted his life and everything. And
mhm.
I saw something he said about, first of all, like poverty not being romantic. So that is true. I ain't gonna like try to romanticize poverty. Like people want to be like, I'm getting it out the mud and all that stuff. Like nobody really want to get it out the mud. And people that's really in the mud, they trying to get out any opportunity they have. But you can
Right,
trust
right.
that. Anybody trying to run to the mud, right? But then the other thing is he was talking about how in his experience where he was in a place where it was very opulent and then he was traveling from there to a place that was very impoverished,
Mhm.
and he said, but the difference was the people that was in the place that had wealth, they couldn't give you time of day. But when you went to the people that was impoverished, they would literally give you the shirt off their back,
Mhm.
anything you need. And I thought like that was interesting because to me, I want to be able to embrace and hold on to that sense of community and togetherness that we all in it together and that we do for each other, even if we're not in situations where we have a whole bunch of abundance. But
Yeah.
whatever we do have, we willing to, share it and spread it out. So, in the spirit of that, I just salute all of our loved ones and everybody that came out of similar situations with us in the struggle to understand, what that was like. And then, all people just like us that, you know, bootstrap themselves in a certain type of way, even though we definitely had a lot of love and help from the community and all that. But we've climbed out of those holes and been able to create realities for other people that is way more enhanced and better. So I think we need to celebrate ourselves.
I think so too. What a happy end of Black History Month, brother, because we are
Hmm.
Black History, and I appreciate you spending this time in the Rose Garden and all of you who came. Guess who we are our little local celebrity, Meg came back. Thank
Oh,
you, Meg.
word! Shout out to Meg.
Shout out to Meg. We love it. And then
Yeah.
I'm sure I would get some hits in the family group chat now because I was over there talking smack about the kids. So um, and sometimes I need my therapy too. And I'll meet you same time, same place, same bad channel in the Rose Garden next week.